swings now. We've got on your left side there the 2000 US Open at Pebble Beach, and then we've got 2008 again at Pebble Beach for Tiger, and then a 3-wood shot from the fairway at Abu Dhabi this year. So those are the 3 different periods: Butch Harmon, Hank Haney, and Sean Foley. Just going to run these through as a sort of a comparison, and we can see, you know, probably in 2000 he stood a little bit further away, a little bit higher hands. Now it's a little bit more low hands. But the thing that I think is very interesting to notice, I mean, these are all set to run in exactly the same time, is how much more acceleration he's got in his swing. You know, you can see now on the right side of your screen, he's almost finished that backswing and makes a pretty strong start down, whereas in 2000 he was still getting to the top of his backswing. So his tempo has dramatically changed. Same guy, you would think same tempo, and in this case you would have to argue that that is not at all the case. Coming into impact, that typical impact position that we see from Tiger, you can see the 3-wood in Abu Dhabi is just about to get smacked. This was a little fade shot that he hit there. We can see the club shot is much more out in front of him. In the delivery position, which you see in the centre of the screen, the shot is still underneath that right forearm plane and working quite far right through the ball, and he's still just chilling out in 2000 as he starts down. So some pretty dramatic changes in the rhythm. You can see now in 2000 that typical position. Look how long that right arm has released. I think that was the real strength. Tiger was really able to match up his body turn and his arm swing, and he really did have a pretty good chance of getting the ball in play off the tee. So let's now break those down and take a closer look. We're going to start with the Butch Harmon period, and I'll show you some of the highlights, or at least the key things that he worked on with Butch Harmon. So higher hands, and certainly the shaft more sort of up, definitely higher hands. And as he worked through that, we could see that the path of the club, the path of the driver, was very much more out, with the arm swing working much more up his chest. Look how much longer that right arm stays straight. The wrist set is also much later. So the arms there pretty much together and out in front of him. So a significantly different path that we see today. And then the thing that Butch Harmon was always working on was trying to get that right elbow to point down to the ground, not to travel too long. We can see the top of the backswing there used to still get a little bit shut during this period, but I think what was interesting was, look how much quicker his arms are down in front of him. As he comes down here, you can really see this is now arm speed as his hips start to release. Very, very strong push off that right side, but his arms are way more out in front of him. The shaft is almost also way more out in front of him, and a much more sort of right side releasing under and through, and that old long arm swing through. So if you can sort of have that in your head, he then split with Butch Harmon and went to Hank Haney. He felt that with Butch Harmon the swing was getting a little bit too static. He wanted to have a more rotary swing because he felt as though, although he was more accurate, he was losing power. So he went for a really structurally much different golf swing. Let's take a closer look at the key points. This is a 3-wood from the 2008 US Open. The key things were, if you watch the path of the club, it worked much more in. The wrist, the right arm stayed much closer to him and was much more set against his body. And the arm plane, that left arm definitely got more around him. So the hands got into a lower, deeper position. So the left arm plane and the shoulder plane matched up more as one unit. As he came down, you could see that press into his right side, keeps his back to the target as he has always done. But here, I mean, this is with an injured knee. Here you could see the shaft definitely dropping quite far under the plane. The shaft is pointing to the right, and he would have to try to save this. You can see his arms separate much more, and he has to save it there with arm swing sort of rotation to try to bring that back in. So now that all ended as he felt as though he had lost control a little bit of the ball. There were too many shots, too much hook spin in his game. He wanted to have a more neutral ball flight, so he went to recruit the advice and skills of Sean Foley. Let's have a look at those key points. So this is a 3-wood from the fairway. He's playing a cut shot, but I think we can see the key thing. So he goes back to a steeper arm plane. Here the club is going to set more up. Now you can see it travel more up in front of him, more over his right shoulder. There's more resistance from that right side, so the right hip is almost going more over to the left side as opposed to the other way around, where he had more weight shift. So there's much less weight shift, much more rotation, and now he really makes a powerful move. Look at those hips start to fire. So the hip is going forwards and open. But here I think we can say definitely the club is way more in front of him. This is a much better position for Tiger, and he's able to get those shoulders to square up. In the past, those shoulders have been pretty significantly shut. So there have been some, as we've seen from those pictures, some major structural differences, which is quite remarkable for a top athlete to have such a huge variety. Those are really the key areas in the Tiger Woods game. He does look to have more control over the ball at the moment, David.